No one is ever going to accuse Trump of not keeping it interesting. Borderline crazy. Good to have you with us on this Monday edition, Ed Schultz News and Commentary. Obviously, there's been a lot of news over the last 72 hours. It goes back to a rant on Friday that the president had with the staff, upset that Jeff Sessions recused himself. Then there was a series of tweets on Saturday morning that it just has me blown away, accusing President Obama of wiretapping Trump Towers. Now, I want to go through this with you from the standpoint that both presidents, Obama and Trump, could be telling the truth. There's a real possibility here. But let's get to Trump. I can't believe that a sitting president, the highest official in the country, would be so flamboyant with information, or would go so far just to grab the news cycle, or just to prove a political point about who's supporting him and who isn't, to make this kind of accusation with it not being true. And so I come to the personal conclusion that one of two things is happening here. Either our government is completely off the rails, or the President of the United States is undeniably nuts to do something like this. It makes no sense. Why in the world would the President of the United States dangle something like this out in front of the world and the United States community with it not having some level of truth to it? That was my question all weekend long. I kept saying, why would Trump do this? Just because he's pissed off? Did he do this because he's crazy? He doesn't care? Maybe he doesn't want the job? I don't know. But this is highly unusual. But let's go down the chain of command and the way our government works for the purposes of conversation here. There is a chance that wiretapping took place in the Trump Tower and President Obama not knowing about it. If you look at Obama's statement, and the statement, not his statement, but through a spokesperson, saying that no one in the White House had anything to do with this. That could be very true. On the other hand, Trump, now being the President of the United States, could come across some information where he knows that the Trump Towers was wiretapped. And you might say, oh, no, I'm a Democrat. No way. Time out. Time out. Be fair about this. Who was the person that was causing the big stir connected to Russia that was always hanging out at Trump Towers? General Flynn. There is a chance that they were snooping on him, trying to find out how deep he was in the sack with the Russians, because, of course, the mainstream media kept playing this videotape of General Flynn sitting next to Putin at the RT dinner overseas back in 2015. You could, in the intelligence community, call that probable cause. So maybe they were following Flynn into Trump Towers, bugging him. Who knows? Who knows what the truth is? The other issue that I think has to be pointed out is just the FISA court. How many Americans know what the hell the FISA court is? The FISA court is a judge. It is a judge that sits inside the Justice Department 24/7. And they rotate the judges. Obviously, it ain't one judge. I think there's 7 of them. And this judge sits there to make sure that the United States has some checks and balances in its surveillance community. Let's go back to the Patriot Act. We've had this heated discussion, and liberals were right in the middle of it. Then Senator Feinstein from Wisconsin was a big Fourth Amendment advocate. We had a big privacy discussion. We were concerned about another hit on American soil. And the conversation was that we could not respond fast enough, that we had to come up with a system that was going to be responsive to saving the country from being hit again. And if they had to tap somebody or get into somebody's shorts at some level, they could do it with a level of expediency that would beat the electronic world. So they came up with these rules in the FISA court that if you're an agent and I'm an agent and we think that somebody is giving us probable cause or there's reason for suspicion that we need to find out what this person's doing, we can tap that person immediately. But as an intelligence agent, we have to go back to the FISA court through the Justice Department within 24 hours to, number one, tell them what we did, tell them how we did it, tell them why we did it, and ask for permission to continue to do it. That's how the FISA court works. That's how we protect America. Now, if you're watching this and you disagree with me, or if you've got information that's different from what I'm saying, you can post it right there on my Facebook or on my website at wegoted.com. This is how it works. This is the system we have. Now, there's all kinds of reports out there with unnamed sources. This agency reporting this agency reporting that. There's so much shit out there right now, we have to have an investigation to clean it up. I want everything investigated as an American citizen. I want the Senate Intelligence Committee. I want the House Intelligence Committee. I would like to see Loretta Lynch be brought in, former Attorney General. She would know if there was a wiretap, more so than Ben Clapper, who was on Meet the Press. Ben Clapper is a liar. Ben Clapper is on record asked by Senator Wyden in a Senate Intelligence Committee the last year if we were going after people through the NSA and listening to conversations. He flat out lied about that. When you lie, you lose your credibility. So there's just so many hairs crossing here, so many wires crossing. We got to get to the bottom of it. Well, this is what President Trump is challenging. The intelligence services and the intelligence community are on Capitol Hill, the intel committees, to do something about it. So we got a long way to go, but understanding that, first of all, I could see how the Trump Towers might have been tapped. I can see how the President of the United States, Barack Obama, wouldn't know anything about it. There's a select few, it almost as if there's some alternative government that's being run. There's some shadow government that's taking place in this country because we have to keep the country safe. But this is the level of checks and balances that the Senate came up with and our lawmakers came up with when we renewed the Patriot Act. But I just can't imagine a sitting senator making such a statement of declaration without any proof. This Trump has got, it's on him. He's not on offense. He's now on defense. When he puts something like that out, the President of the United States eventually is going to have to back it up. And so you can say it's reckless, it's outrageous, it's borderline crazy, whatever. It's moving the country further into disillusionment about our government, and also more and more people questioning just how the hell do we operate. That's where I see this whole thing.
I have a question about this whole thing. I think you laid it out very nicely there. But say the Obama Attorney General's office, so the Department of Justice under Obama, Loretta Lynch at the time, she orders the wiretap at Trump Tower, or somebody within that office who has got that capability. Like you said, they have the probable cause. Is this Watergate, or are they doing it within their rights?
Watergate, keep in mind, there was the only parallel between this and Watergate is that there's a lot more to come out right now, and things like this are very detailed and enthralled, and there's a lot of players. It's going to take a long time to sort it out, as it took Watergate 2 years. That's the only similarity I see here. I don't. Other than that, I don't. There's a deep throat somewhere, so to speak.
Right.
Inside the government, it appears to be inside the intelligence agencies that possibly were political appointees under a different administration. I don't know. But keep in mind, during Watergate, the rat in the ointment, the fly in the ointment that blew that open was not two journalists. It was somebody that was inside the Nixon administration that decided to get information to two journalists.
Right.
So here we have multiple reports. We have multiple leaks. We have a president now who is on the offensive that has had it backfire. Now he's on the defensive because he's going to have to explain. And there's only a few people in our government that would have known that the FISA order was made and carried out.
No, I mean more so in the way of, is this a scandal if the Obama administration did do it? Did they do something that was wrong, or did they do something within their right?
The president, to me, President Obama has been exonerated.
Okay.
President Obama also made a declarative statement through his spokesperson that no one in his White House or he ordered a wiretap of Donald Trump or anybody's campaign. So that's a declarative statement right there. Now, it's not under oath, but depending on how far this is going to go, who knows? We've seen presidents under oath before. Bill Clinton, I'm sure we could see Barack Obama under oath depending on how far they want to go on this. This is politically, just throwing the politics of this. This is challenging the Republican Party to stand behind Trump. That they're going to go, yeah, let's have investigations. And that's where the Republicans are right now. Lindsey Graham had a town hall meeting over the weekend in South Carolina and said that he's very troubled with this accusation. Well, he should be. He's not only shouldn't be troubled by this accusation, he ought to be troubled by the operation. But I do see an avenue of where it could have taken place if they're after General Flynn because he was close to Russia and they wanted to find out more about it. Counterintelligence could have very easily done this. And, oh, by the way, Ben Clapper may not have known about it.
And if there is no there, I mean, does that crush Donald Trump's credibility as the president of the United States to kind of go out there and make these kind of accusations? I mean, does he have to be sure before he, as the president, gets on Twitter and tweets about it?
Well, this is what I was saying, Brent, in that I can't imagine a president dangling this kind of information out there for media favor or to win a news cycle or to get back at somebody. If this isn't true, I mean, the president tweeted out, just found out. So in other words, someone told him, or he came across some information. He read it in a report somewhere or whatever in the deepest, darkest corners of our intelligence world. The president just found out that Obama was wiretapping him. Now, it wouldn't be Obama. What he meant by that was his people on his watch. He was wiretapped. We got to be smart about this. It wasn't. That's where I think it is. And I think there's a lot of chapters to play out here, but there's an avenue where it could have happened. And I think that there's a real possibility both presidents are telling the truth.
You know, I'm just thinking...
And there's also a possibility that Trump's crazy.
And, you know, and as you said, you want to see these investigations play out. You want to get the answers, because we all want the answers. Do these investigations move far too slow for Donald Trump, who he seems to have a new accusation, a new something every, 3 to 4 days?
Well, I mean, the story in the New York Times, if you want to believe that, they were laying traps all over town for Trump. I mean, you could make the case that there's a concerted effort to undermine his presidency. You could make the case that he's off his rocker. You could make the case that, we are completely dysfunctional and we have oversight problems, that this need-to-know basis has gone too far in our democracy. But in the midst of all of this that has come out so far, I think the number one issue is that the American people have to be assured that Russia had nothing to do with this. Because if they did, then we've got some real issues. They have denied it. Notice how the mainstream media in America just doesn't pay any attention or credibility to what Russia is saying about their alleged involvement. They've denied it all, okay? Take that for what it's worth. Now you've got this accusation from Trump. Now you've got this declarative statement from Obama. Now you've got investigations. We're not even in the first turn in this long race.
Absolutely. I think that's everything I got for this particular.
Isn't that enough for one day? We're back tomorrow.